Well, this is the car park at the top of Bonner again. So we're just starting day 2, so hopefully doing sections 2 and 3 today. So off we go. So today we've actually got some kangaroos. They're all just hanging out in the field over there. It's a very brisk morning. It's about 2 degrees at the moment. So need to get walking to get a bit of blood flow. So we're actually right at the northern border of Canberra at the moment, and we're sort of just going to skirt along the top of it and then start heading back down the other side of the tip of Canberra and then head back into the city. Hey, John. Some big old kangaroos just coming through there. $1K in already, and that's New South Wales just out there. So right at the top of Canberra. So this trail runs parallel to this private road, which, as you can see up there, there's actually people's residences and small farms. The trail, that first section that was going on today, goes through to Hall. It's about 19 k's, and there isn't a way to actually get out once you're in without going onto private property. So it's you sort of got to commit to it, or be able to convince a farmer that you really need to get off the trail. But it seems like it's a fairly decent trail so far, and I think, you know, if you really did have an emergency or something like that, you could probably get the help you needed still. Hey, skip. I don't think they're very shy up here. Probably also know they could take me on if they wanted to. So in terms of my legs from last week, I had a couple of days where they were a bit sore, mainly the arches of my feet. So I've changed out my shoes this week, and I'm feeling pretty good compared to where I was. I'm not 100%. I've still got a slight sort of pain in the left arch, but let's just see how far we can get today. I'm still fairly confident I should be able to complete 2 stages, but given that I don't have an exit point because of the fence, I'm at least doing 1. So we just climbed up this hill here, and down below you can see actually where we started today. We went up there, along that road, up there, and up here. That's 2.5 k's in. So not a bad effort so far. Off in the distance you actually see Black Mountain. We're hoping that we'll end today. We'll see. And then we're downhill again. Twin peaks that you can see off in the distance there. The one on the left is Mount Majura. One on the left is Mount Ainslie, which is where we were last week. And that's just Bonner down below and forward. So about 3.5 k's in now. The view up here is just spectacular. So the end of that mountain range over there, I'm pretty sure is where we're heading. So way off over there, you can see all the development. I walked this One Tree Hill segment a couple of years ago, and that suburb over there wasn't there then. So Canberra's really pushed out, but there's not much further you can go because we're right on the border. So just heading downhill now. We're just going down the other side. Actually got sheep paddocks or some sort of paddock on either side, and all I can smell is shit. It's quite an evocative aroma this time of the morning. But we're just heading along here now. It was really lovely walking around the top of that ridge line, but this little valley's quite nice as well, so keep on going. Right, so this is the northern border campsite. So this is technically the end of the second stage of the walk, but because it doesn't have any road access, a lot of people stop back at Bono where we started today and where we stopped last week. So this is about 5k's down the track from that. So there's a couple of people staying here, but tell you what, it would have been pretty cold last night. This part of the trail is actually really well marked. I've not had to take my phone out and look at the map once, so it's actually quite nice compared to stage 2 where you had bits that were beautifully marked and bits that aren't. There you go, right there, there's one of the marker poles. But this is really, really pretty through here. All the eucalypts are shedding their bark. Probably have to watch out a bit for snakes maybe, but it's pretty cold, so hopefully be alright. But just really lovely up here. Never been up this part. Definitely would come back. This section through here is really pretty. As I almost trip. It's just, there's almost no one around. The only people I've seen have been on that campground, and it's about 1 kilometre behind us now. So it's pretty isolated. It's just very peaceful though. You can hear a faint hum from Gungahlin and Bonner and that. There's traffic and stuff in the background, but it's otherwise very nice. So you sort of emerge from that eucalypt forest and then back out into the paddocks again. So it's a weird mix of terrain, but it's probably my favourite section so far. So I just passed some hikers before, and looks like they've gone and cut across the land, and now they're going to be back in front of me again, which is really frustrating because it'd just be nice to walk by yourself and not have to keep, you know, jumping in front of people or behind people. But not to mention the fact that they're in private property. But anyway, here's what it is. Just turned off and onto this, it's kind of a fire trail, but I didn't think there was any access. But anyway, it looks like a fire trail, so it's a little bit easier to walk along here, though the ground's very hard. So I'm gonna try and just sort of take some of the pressure off the feet again. So far they're doing all right. It's only about 7k's in at this point, but yeah, so far so good. Not feeling too bad. New shoes seem to have done a world of good. So I've managed to pass my hiker friends again, but I think they're actually walking a slightly different track, so hopefully I don't have to keep jump frogging them. But this is where we are now, on our way to One Tree Hill. So we've just ducked out of the forest again, and we're in a fairly rural part of the ACT. That might even be New South Wales, just over there, I'm not quite sure. But it's sort of funny, you got all these trees on one side and then you got land on the other. Oh, it's another big fella. Well, there you go. Shows it really pays to actually watch the map very closely in some parts. I was following the trail down along that path down there, got to the top, and then started following this fire trail, which seemed to be the natural extension of it. It wasn't. It ended up doubling back. So I'm probably walked 1.5 kilometres out of my way, another 1.5 kilometres back up. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but at least I caught it early before I ended up back in Gungahlin. So this is the bit I got turned around at. That's the track I meant to take. That's the track I did take. Not much of a difference, just a moment of inattention and a little bit of annoyance. Well, that was a colossal failure. Found the trail again. There was a padlocked gate out there, no sign markers or anything that basically said go this way. And another trail that was much more prominent, no gate across it, much more obvious path to go. And for some reason the GPS wasn't working perfectly either, so anyway, we're back on track now. So at least here, the gate is a little bit more obvious, actually. Why make life harder? That's One Tree Hill up there. So I'm just walking across this area here. I actually don't know if I'm on the right side. I mean, it looks like the right path, but I don't know. We just seem to be very close to people's houses. This part of the track's really isolated in terms of walkers and runners and stuff like that. So I haven't actually seen anybody for a long time. But I think once I get up to the top of One Tree Hill, you tend to get the people who go from Hall just to One Tree Hill and back. So that part of the track might be a little bit more populated. Very, very far off in the distance, you get a glimpse of Black Mountain Tower. It seems huge distance away at this point, but I guess we'll see how it goes this afternoon. This first section's actually been a lot harder and a lot slower than I thought it would be. Not just because I messed up and went the wrong way, but the rocky terrain just makes it hard to sort of maintain a pace. That's very good, and it's not like the fire trails from last week where you could just pretty much go at normal speed or even a bit faster. So anyway, we're still getting there. It's very much colder than it was last week. There's no sun around, and if I stop, I actually feel the cold and the sweat cooling me down a lot. So I've got another jacket with me, but hopefully I don't need it. I found a friend. See you later. Still on the ascend up into One Tree Hill. Got quite a nice view out that side. A few minutes ago we could see the city out that way, but it's gone now. Pace is very slow, just under 5 k's an hour, which is, it's kind of rubbish given what I'm trying to achieve. But last week we were getting around the 6 k an hour mark. Parts of this trail it's been as slow as 4 k's an hour and as fast as 6. But yeah, it's not great. It's going to add a little bit of extra time onto the end of it, and anyway, keep on going. So very much going uphill right now. It's just probably about halfway up One Tree Hill. You can sort of see the top up there. It's not a huge peak, but we're about 13 k's in, so it's I don't know, it feels like a little bit more effort than you would normally want to be spending. Plus I've got a backpack full of day supplies on my back, so it's yeah, feeling a little tired now. Hip flexors are starting to get a little tight. I'm gonna have a stop at the top of the little peak here and take in a view, have a bite to eat, and get going again. You can see just down there, we've got yet another new suburb. They're literally pushing it right up against the boundary. But Gungahlin has just exploded since I last walked this track. So yeah, none of this was here. This was all, you could look out there and it was more or less just paddock. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, we're getting up there. Take a break. Recess. Alright, nearly at the top. See lots more people now. Oh, that's all good. Just up there, as you can see, there's heaps of people. Beautiful view, kind of. I'm down off One Tree Hill and about 17 kilometres in apparently, so I think with my detour and everything else it means I've got about 3 k's to go before I get to Hall. Alright, still going back down to Hall. It's only about 4 kilometres from the top, but it's a bit slow going with my feet at the moment. Desperately needing a change of socks, but this trail is just full of people. It's actually really miserable compared to this morning. It was so nice having everyone away. Alright, about 1 k out of Hall now. You can see Black Mountain off in the distance. Very far distance. But this area out here is much more rural. All those new subdivisions aren't sort of visible anymore. They're much more over the Gungahlin side. But yeah. All right. Just down here is Hall. All right, we are in Hall. So it's a lot more peaceful. This is used to be just the outskirts of Canberra completely, and now it doesn't even seem that far away. It's like all the Gungahlin suburbs are like hitting right up against it now. So anyway, just gonna walk into town, and then that's gonna be lunch and the official end of the first segment for today, or the third segment for the entire trip. Alright, just walking out of Hall now. Stopped for lunch in the Oval down there. Just had a bite to eat, changed my socks again. Yeah, feeling pretty sore in the knees at the moment. Feet are also really tender, but as long as I'm actually walking on them, they seem to be okay. It's just when I stop that they start getting angry at me. So we're going to walk out here, and the rest of today is pretty much in sort of the city itself. There's a little bit that goes down the highway, but then the rest of it is pretty much in suburban Canberra. So here we go. So that's the entrance to Hall just there. That's the Barton Highway. So we're just walking up this way now. Next stop is Gold Creek, but it's nice that we're sort of not right down on the road, I guess. We got some horses up in the paddock here, but there's certainly a bit more traffic noise. So you can just see the back of Gold Creek there. That's the next stop. That's the Barton Highway just down there. Pace is not even worth mentioning. It's very, very slow. But there's about 20 k's to go till I get to Black Mountain. Given the way I'm feeling, I don't think that's going to be achievable. Last week I did just over 30 k's, so I want to at least get that done. We should sort of see me around Belconnen somewhere. So here we go. Alright, this is Gold Creek. This is the ugly part of it. It gets prettier further down, but this is the bit with all the servos and fried food. If I hadn't just had lunch, I would almost do that right now. That's the chapel at Gold Creek. Here's some of the more historic little bits and pieces. They got a whole heap of little sort of cutesy shops and stuff in there. It's not too bad. Then up here they've got Cockington Green, which when I was a kid used to have miniature trains and miniature little city. It's more for kids. Not even sure if it actually operates anymore, to be honest. Guess we'll find out in a minute. So we're almost at the end of Gold Creek. I'm still managing to walk, but it's getting a bit harder. So that's the back of the Gold Creek golf course, and that's the dinosaur museum. It's I think it's one of the largest private collections of dinosaur paraphernalia and bits and pieces, certainly in Australia, but yeah, I don't know. again, good for the kids. So just came down that path there, and we're just walking right next to the highway now, which is pretty unpleasant. Scenery is shipping containers, barbed wire fences, small lake which is quite pretty, and traffic. Alright, just turned towards Belconnen. 25 k's done. I'm pretty tired. The legs are really starting to hurt. But I just want to make it to Belconnen and then I'm happy enough to call it. But yeah, I just didn't realize how ambitious it was going to be. That first section today was just all the ups and downs, really just tore my feet to pieces, and it yeah, maybe I'm still a bit tired after last week, but either way it's a little bit disappointing. Alright, it's McKellar over on the right and Everett. So just start to see the buildings at Belconnen up ahead. It's probably another 5 k's away. I actually feel like I've got a bit of a second wind at this point. Feet are still really sore, but legs are feeling a bit better, so just gonna keep pushing on for a little bit longer and see how we go. There we go, right around the bend, there's Belco, and there's Telstra Tower, and some guys jet skiing. Just walking along Lake Ginninderra now. So the Belconnen town centre is about we're about 3 kilometres away, maybe 2.5, and I think I've made the final call. I'm just going to stop there. My feet are just killing me at this point, and it's starting to get fairly late in the day. It's you can see the sun's starting to get low, so I don't think I would make Black Mountain by the end of the day at this pace. So it's I'll be sort of walking in the dark, which I don't really want to do. So I'll call it here, and I'll start again next week, and next week will actually be a pretty decent segment then. Alright, that's Belco. That's going to be the end for today. I'll pick up here next week.